Hi, welcome back to High School Journalism, What's It All About? I'd like to talk to you for just a moment before we talk about resources this segment. I'd like to talk a little bit about the job of advising the paper and the relationship between that and teaching the course. Now, there are places throughout the country in which teaching the course means advising the paper. The paper is done in class. In Webster and in many, if not most schools in New York State, the advisorship and the class are really two different things. But whatever system you set up, whatever you decide to do, consider this, and this is for the teachers. Students will be so much more motivated if they can see their work in print. So whatever you decide to do, whether it's an online newspaper, print newspaper, or portfolio, do consider the thrill and the responsibility and the real life lessons of having something produced as a result of it. So I will just take a moment and show you what we've done in the past with Webster Thomas's paper. We had a print newspaper up until, this is an early print version of the newspaper. This is from a few years ago, and this I believe was our last print issue. That was February 2013. After that, we put all of our energy into our online newspaper, and you can find it at websterthomascourier.com. You can scroll through and just see what types of newspaper articles we run. Okay, we also run a Twitter feed, we embed a Google Calendar, and we have a special feature with photos that we change a few times a year. So, but really today I wanted to talk to you mostly about how you get started, especially if you're a new advisor. Where do you begin? I would say one of the most brilliant people in the field of advising newspapers is a woman named Heveron-Smith, who's done a lot of work for the national organization, the Columbia Scholastic Press Association. She wrote this book, Scholastic Newspaper Fundamentals, and she's also written a whole style and guidebook for CSPA. I've heard her speak, and she really starts with the basics, like what belongs in the school newspaper. So check this out. I think you can contact Columbia and see what materials they might have from Helen. She's been advising a paper in Massachusetts for many, many years. Okay, next up, Robert Greenman. I've heard him speak early in my career and then later. He inspired me to think outside the box. If your students are having a hard time coming up with ideas, check out the chapter where he gives you something like 100 or maybe 200 ideas for coming up with story ideas. He's awesome. Also, he points out that one of the most delicate and important relationships in advising the newspaper is the relationship between advisor and principal, and he dedicates an entire chapter to that. So he's just a gem of a guy. I've met him at the CSPA conference, and definitely check out his book. Okay. In the intro, I did talk about Bobby Hawthorne's book and the fact that Bobby appeared at the fall conference, the state conference at SU. It's really another treasure of a book. I believe he has a new version coming out. But what I really love about this is he makes no bones about what's a good story and what's a bad story, what's a good lead, what's a bad lead. And so you just go through and you have real life examples throughout of what good writing looks like. And he embeds good information too on just grammar and good habits of writing. Okay, and finally, this is a little bigger book because it covers so much, but it not only tells you how to write, but it gives you some good information on 21st century journalism. And so this is Student Journalism and Media Literacy. So this is written by Megan Fromm, Homer Hall, and Aaron Manful. Aaron, I listened to him speak at the University of Missouri a few years ago, and he's just a plethora. He has just a plethora of knowledge about not only writing but photography, digital journalism, policies that you should create to keep yourself sort of safe in safe waters with that. Okay, so those are really just probably a fraction of the print materials that you could use, but certainly feel free to start looking around on your own and seeing what else there is. If I could just turn now over to the digital resources, there are many. So I'm going to take our newspaper down for the moment here and just show you a copy of a photo of the outside of the New House 3 building. This is Syracuse University's third building devoted to journalism. I hope I have that right. I hope it's not the fourth. But anyway, the First Amendment is written and reflected on the outside of the building. It's just beautiful. The first thing I did when I dropped the newspaper advising for a few years and picked it back up again, the first place that I went to was to Syracuse, just to sit in on a graduate class and see what 21st century looks like in the hands of graduate students. It was a day well worth the investment. So check out SU. They also happen to house the Empire State Scholastic Press Association. That's an organization that you might like to join. You can go to their conference for a very, very low price, enter their contests, and meet other people from the region. It would be great. Let's see. Okay, Columbia is, that's a national organization. We have in Webster, both at Schrader and Thomas, we've been members of this for many, many years. We've won a lot of awards. It's more competitive, of course, because it's national, but it is, it's definitely worth checking out. I've been to their conference 3 or 4 times. Okay, and you will, if you decide to go to the conference, you'll get so much information that your head will hurt. It's just great. Okay, and let's see. There's the SSPA. That's Sherry Taylor, and she's in charge of the whole thing, and she's excellent. Okay, another organization based in the Midwest is the Journalism Education Association. Teachers, you will have just more plans than you could ever use in a lifetime through all of these organizations. So check them out as well. Now, if you're wondering about your First Amendment rights, then you can go over to this page here. This is the Student Press Law Center, and this will tell you exactly what rights you have. Of course, you have First Amendment rights as a student journalist, but they were somewhat curtailed with the Hazelwood decision, which you should know about, you should read up about, in 1988. One of the things that protects journalists, the young journalists, from being it protects their First Amendment rights is if you declare your newspaper, let's see what the exact expression is, a public forum for student expression. So they'll walk you through and tell you exactly what to do to make your paper responsible and just really excellent. So read up on what your rights are, okay? And finally, check out the Newseum Institute. Okay, another wonderful resource. Okay, so that should get you started. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.